So, my drama show is called The Delivery Man. So, The Delivery Man is a crime drama show, and each episode is going to be around 45 minutes long, and it's going to be around 6 episodes in total per series. It's based in a world kind of similar to ours, however the difference is that it's still got a lot of elements of the culture from the 30s, 40s, so you'll still find a lot of like the hats and the coats and a lot of that sort of style in society. The plot follows this 22-year-old journalist called Arthur, and he realises after he's found out his dad's got an illness and his partner wants to settle down, that he needs to resort to a crime to get by. So through an old school friend that he knows, he finds this guy who wants him to deliver packages, the delivery man. So the show kind of follows him going deeper and deeper into this crime. He doesn't realise that he's going super far until it's too late. I was hoping that maybe towards the end there'd be a bit with like maybe a body to kind of show that it's kind of come this far, like he just started delivering packages but he doesn't even know who it is. So that's sort of basic plot. So, the style. Basically, as it's based in the sort of 30s, 40s like culture, but it's for today, it features something not as anyone heard of steampunk, it's kind of like that, but not as sort of fantastical. So, it's how you'd imagine mobile phones or some modern technology, but interpreted in like a 30s, 40s sort of setting. That's some sort of unique thing. The whole show will be filmed in black and white. I just think it kind of suits the whole sort of noir thing I'm going for, as it's kind of like a noir sort of subgenre sort of thing. So it kind of follows the same with costumes as well, like I said, big coats, hats, that sort of thing. And it'll follow a lot of the style of noir, such like quite dramatic lighting, which I thought would be quite good to suit this sort of thing. I thought it'd be really good for my audience as well, because recently there's a trend of liking the retro. It can be 80s, 40s, If you look on any social media sites, you might find a lot of black and white pictures, people kind of into that sort of thing. I thought it could apply. I thought the soundtrack could be a mixture of classical music. I was considering 30s, 40s music, but I think classical might be better tension-wise. A lot of the music around the 30s, 40s can be quite uplifting, I guess it depends where you go. But I prefer more classical music. It tends to build tension quite well, and it's quite dramatic as well, so good. So the audience. So my sort of range is 16 to 34. It's quite common on BBC3. I thought this would be really good because it follows a lot of the typical trends of the BBC3 sort of dramas. It's kind of filled with crime and romance and that sort of stuff. However, I wanted it to stand out as it's a sort of unique art style kind of shows. I feel like a lot of people can be drawn to it. Quite a similar show to it is actually Peaky Blinders. And I know it's a period piece, but it's kind of similar in the sort of idea I want. It's got that sort of, like I said, romance and crime, but mine's different as it's presented. It's not like Birmingham. It's more sort of American inspired sort of thing. It's based in England, but it's sort of American inspired. I was kind of hoping that because it's 16 to 34, it's quite a broad range. For younger people, they might be more intrigued because they haven't seen this sort of films before. But anybody who's a bit older might feel a bit nostalgic to watch it. It's not exactly a love letter to the genre, but I think anybody who's old enough to remember them can feel at least a little bit nostalgic about it. So, pre-existing inspiration. So regarding the art style, as it's sort of a modern interpretation of noir, I thought Blade Runner is a good inspiration. It's based in this future, this guy hunting down androids, but it's a noir film inherently. I thought regarding the characters, it's more based on Walking Dead and Breaking Bad. I didn't realise it was like the Breaking Bad until recently, because the actual main character kind of descends. Like he starts off with these really good motivations to help his family, but then eventually he goes to start sort of downfall to a common criminal, essentially. So that's like kind of regarding Walking Dead. If anyone's seen it, it follows Rick Grimes, who again starts with like good intentions, but slowly downfalls into a guy who just kind of kills a lot of the time. And with Breaking Bad, I know that the main character kind of starts his criminal empire, but in mine, he doesn't necessarily start a criminal empire, but he kind of follows the rules of someone else, so he doesn't really know what's going on. So that in a way makes it more like unique. So, and regarding distribution and marketing, distribution physically can be very expensive. and as BBC3 already has the iPlayer, I feel like presenting it on the iPlayer would be a lot better for mine. It's kind of shown that ticket sales are stagnating, and it's the same with DVD and video, but online is booming. I'm sure a lot of everyone have seen like Netflix, Hulu, that sort of thing. And I think it'd be overall better for mine. I didn't think just BBC iPlayer because it's limited to the UK. I would like it to be global, so if it was Netflix or Hulu, I could expand the audience a little bit around the world. As it is like American, so a lot of people are aware of that sort of style of webinar. Regarding marketing, I thought the internet was an obvious choice. It's a global market, everyone's on there, everyone could see it. And it's more expensive to do like physical advertisement, you know, like billboards and stuff. And the sort of thing I'm going for isn't just be like massive, I want it to be quite condensed. I feel like the internet would be a really good place. Social media websites such as Instagram would be great because I can post like daily updates on like how the filming's going, and they can create kind of a personal connection to the show to people who are trying to watch it. So when it does come out, people have more of an investment in it being successful, hopefully. That's it. Questions?
Okay, so you mentioned BBC3 and why you think it's a good match for the channel as a whole. You talked about the BBC drama that was similar and had similar concepts. You said that you wanted yours to stand out and be different, but you didn't say exactly how. What would your unique selling point be about yours? How is it completely different from Peaky Blinders when it's set in the UK and there's some similar aspects?
Well, I'd say first of all it's sort of a modern future, so all the audience of like 16 to 34 can kind of relate, as it will include stuff like mobile phones. Although it'll look different to how it does today, it'll still have a lot of technology that people can relate to in a way. So that could be more people can invest in it more if it's like that. And also mainly the art style as well. The art style is very unique. It's very noir, and I feel that could kind of separate it from the kind of typical dramas you kind of see on BBC.
Okay. You mentioned a lot about your male protagonist and his dad dying and getting into the cycle of crime. What I didn't notice was any mention of a female representation.
Partner. Female.
Partner.
Sorry,
okay.
should have specified.
So, will she be there just as his wife, or will she be there? Will she be
I hope for more
represented in a modern way rather than in the 1930s, 40s style?
Ironically, the costumes I had in mind were very stereotypical, but I wanted it to contrast with her actual personality. So it's less like kind of normal kind doing what her husband wants, but it's more if you don't sort yourself out and get out of this sort of life of crime, I'm just not going to be with you anymore. And it's not just romantic; it's for like their family and stuff. That sort of thing I had in mind. So I didn't want to be just typical. You know, I wanted it to kind of apply to the audience of today, but still have the sort of noir elements.
Okay, so mixing a bit of both. So you still want to have that. You want it to be strong-minded, but also want to have that family life at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also wanted her to kind of be like a moral kind of standing for the main character, because he's swayed by one person who's trying to get him to go into crime, his whole childhood friend, but also his partner who just wants him to kind of just do a normal job and not put him in danger.
Fab. Okay. Is there potential for a next series, and if so, would it evolve around the characters in the first series, or would it be like a new?
Well, I think the universe is. I like the interest. I think it's an interesting idea, so I'll be down to do like a spin-off. But I think there is a lot of possibility for continuation because he's still alive, his family's still there, and it's just he just descends to having to deal with like a dead body, like killing someone, and it could advance. It could get even more and more into it. It could be a possible redemption arc. I think it could go in a lot of different ways. So I think it's kind of good for a sequel if people like it.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned using the internet as part of a way of advertising. What have you thought about anything print-wise? Because obviously you've got quite a large target audience, 16 to 34. Would you consider print as well, or would it just be internet and social media based?
I think social media is massive, and there's a lot of audience, especially older than like 16. There's a lot of people who still go on Facebook, and it's like certain websites have different demographics, so I could expand to different websites. I would also be willing to do print, but I wouldn't want to do it in such a capacity as the internet, because I actually believe it's just the best way, personally, to market it.
Okay, and probably my last one. In terms of distributing internationally, you mentioned it, but I just wasn't clear on what your aspirations were for it to.
Basically, because it's BBC, it's mostly UK based, and I was trying to think of a way I could distribute it to anywhere else. And I thought sites such as Netflix and Hulu are kind of international, and I was saying that I could possibly branch my show to that. If it does well, maybe on BBC, I could possibly expand it to Netflix and then get more global audience. That was like that.
Rather than just keeping it to TV channels.
Yeah, and UK, I just want to expand it.
Okay, thank you. I think in terms of your PowerPoint, I liked the theme. You were going for this noir theme, and I got it. One thing I would say is just it lacked a little bit of detail. I felt like you were doing all the talking, and your PowerPoint didn't tell me as much. Say, for example, when you were talking about iPlayer and things like that, it just said this is like this kind of distribution, but actually just making it clear, just having that little bit more detail.
Right.
Just so you don't have to work as hard. And you can say, as you can see up here, just adding a couple more details. But I got what you were saying. Just be careful when you're talking and put your hand up your mouth.
Okay.
But yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Well done. Pause.